Have you ever experienced a moment so perfectly aligned, so impossibly precise in its timing, that it couldn't possibly be random chance? A book falling open to exactly the page you needed to read. A stranger speaking the exact words answering your silent prayer. A symbol appearing repeatedly when you're making a crucial decision. These aren't coincidences. They aren't random, and they certainly aren't meaningless. They are quantum synchronicities, the language through which the divine intelligence communicates directly with you. Today, I'm going to reveal how God or universal consciousness, the source, the field, whatever name resonates with you, speaks through these quantum events, and why most people completely miss the message. I'll share the exact method to decode these divine communications and how to intentionally increase their frequency in your life. This isn't mystical speculation. It's supported by quantum physics, neuroscience, and the direct experience of those who've learned to listen. The first key insight is that synchronicities are not psychological curiosities. They are quantum events. Quantum physics has demonstrated that at the fundamental level of reality, everything is interconnected in a unified field. Particles that appear separated by space remain instantaneously connected, regardless of distance. This principle, known as quantum entanglement, has been experimentally verified repeatedly. What science is only beginning to understand is that consciousness interacts directly with this quantum field. Your thoughts, intentions, and questions create ripples in the field, and synchronicities are the field's response. They are moments when the normally hidden quantum nature of reality becomes briefly visible in your everyday experience. The second key insight is that synchronicities follow a precise pattern and structure. They aren't random spiritual experiences. They are organized communications with specific characteristics. First, they're relevant to your current life situation or question. Second, they contain information you couldn't have known consciously. Third, they often carry an emotional charge or sense of significance. Fourth, they frequently appear in clusters or sequences. Fifth, they become more frequent when consciously acknowledged. Understanding this pattern is crucial because it distinguishes meaningful synchronicities from mere coincidences. The third key insight is that most people miss these divine messages for three specific reasons. First, they've been conditioned to dismiss synchronicities as meaningless coincidences. The materialist worldview that dominates our culture has no framework for understanding these events, so they're categorized as random or imaginary. Second, they lack the perceptual sensitivity to notice synchronicities when they occur. Our attention is increasingly fragmented, pulled in countless directions by digital distractions, leaving little awareness for subtle quantum communications. Third, even when they notice synchronicities, they lack the interpretive framework to understand their meaning. They recognize something significant happened, but can't decode the message it contains. This is why so many divine communications go unrecognized and unheeded. The universe is constantly speaking, but few are truly listening. Now, let me share the precise method to recognize, interpret, and amplify these quantum communications in your life. The first step is developing synchronicity sensitivity. Begin by setting this specific intention each morning. I am now attuned to the quantum language of synchronicity. I notice the meaningful patterns and connections that the universe is communicating to me today. Then, create a synchronicity journal dedicated exclusively to recording these events. Each time you experience something that seems meaningfully connected or improbably timed, record it immediately, with these specific details: the exact nature of the synchronicity, your emotional response to it, any question or situation it might relate to, your initial interpretation of its meaning. This practice dramatically increases your perceptual sensitivity to quantum communications. Most people are shocked to discover how many synchronicities they were missing once they begin this intentional tracking. The second step is mastering synchronicity interpretation. Synchronicities speak in a symbolic language that combines universal archetypes with personal associations. To interpret them accurately, apply this four-part framework. First, examine the literal content, what actually happened, in objective terms. Second, identify the symbolic meaning, what might this represent or symbolize. Third, Connect it to your current life situation. What question or challenge does this relate to? Fourth, extract the guidance or message. What insight or direction is being offered? For example, if you're contemplating a career change and repeatedly encounter eagles, whether in conversation, media, or physical sightings, the interpretation might unfold like this. Literal, multiple eagle appearances across different contexts. Symbolic eagles represent vision, freedom, and higher perspective connection. Your current career decision requires these qualities. Message: take the higher perspective. Don't be bound by limitations. This interpretive framework transforms synchronicities from curious anomalies into practical divine guidance. The third step is synchronicity amplification. Once you've developed the ability to recognize and interpret these quantum communications, you can intentionally increase their frequency and clarity in your life. Use this specific three-part practice. First, ask clear questions. The quantum field responds to precise inquiries, rather than vague wonderings. Formulate specific questions about your path, decisions, or challenges. State them aloud or in writing, then release attachment to how or when the answer will come. Second, create quantum attention windows. Set aside 3 10-minute periods throughout your day, dedicated solely to heightened synchronicity awareness. During these windows, maintain relaxed but focused attention on your surroundings, interactions, and internal impressions, watching for meaningful connections and patterns. Third, acknowledge and express gratitude for each synchronicity you receive. This creates a positive feedback loop in the quantum field, increasing the frequency and clarity of future communications. Simply say, "I recognize this communication, and thank you for this guidance," whenever you notice a synchronistic event. As you implement these practices, you'll experience a profound shift in how the universe communicates with you. Synchronicities will become more frequent, more precise, and more directly relevant to your specific questions and challenges. You'll develop what mystics call the eyes to see, the ability to perceive the quantum intelligence operating just beneath the surface of ordinary reality. But there's an even deeper level to this divine communication that few spiritual teachers discuss. Quantum synchronicities don't just provide guidance for specific situations, they gradually reveal your unique place in the cosmic pattern. Each synchronicity is not just an isolated message, but a thread in a larger tapestry of meaning that's being woven through your life. When tracked over time, these threads form a pattern revealing your specific purpose and path. This is why maintaining your synchronicity journal over months and years is so powerful. It allows you to perceive the larger pattern that individual synchronicities are forming. Many who practice this discover that what initially seemed like separate, unrelated events were actually connected communications guiding them toward their highest purpose. Now, there's an important distinction to understand between forced interpretation and genuine synchronicity. Not every event is a divine message. Not every pattern is meaningful communication. The key differentiator is what quantum physicists call coherence. Genuine synchronicities create a sense of resonance or rightness that you can feel in your body, often as chills, warmth, or a sense of expansion in your chest or solar plexus. This physical response is your quantum sensing system confirming the coherence of the pattern. If you have to force an interpretation or convince yourself of a connection, it's likely not a genuine synchronicity. True divine communications through the quantum field carry their own sense of undeniable significance. As you develop this relationship with the quantum intelligence, you'll discover that you're never truly alone or without guidance. The universe, or God, if you prefer, is constantly communicating with you through the precise language of synchronicity. Every meaningful coincidence, every improbable alignment, every pattern that catches your attention is potentially part of this ongoing conversation. The question isn't whether these communications are happening, they always are. The question is whether you're listening. Begin today, set your intention, start your synchronicity journal, apply the interpretive framework, implement the amplification practices, then watch as the seemingly random events of your life transform into a coherent, meaningful dialogue with the intelligence of the universe itself. Most will continue to miss these messages, dismissing them as coincidence or imagination. But you now have the knowledge and tools to recognize, interpret, and amplify the quantum language of synchronicity. The divine is speaking. Are you listening? If you found this perspective illuminating, I invite you to explore my video. This dimension is a school where I reveal how these synchronicities are often part of your soul's educational curriculum. Understanding the purpose behind these communications adds another layer to their meaning in your life. Share in the comments a meaningful synchronicity you've experienced. What was the message? How did it impact your path? Your story might help others recognize the divine communications in their own lives.